Honore is setting the vibes for the
Yeah.
live stream.
Yeah. I got my candle.
Gosh, you're so good at this stuff.
What can I say?
I need more you don't want to see what's going on my desk. Everything looks organized like what you can see, but it's mayhem in front of me.
Mayhem.
Hey, I've got way too many books that I'm like, oh, I'm going to read this. Oh, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this. Like stack.
It is a thing. It's a real problem. It is a real problem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when am I ever going to have the time to do all of this? I just don't. It's like I've got your whole catalog right here.
My whole catalog. Thank you. My shoe collection appreciates you.
That's right.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So how's your week been?
Very good. Actually cooking with gas. We had a big snowstorm.
You did.
Last week. And so it took us 8 days to get down the driveway, 9 days to get down the driveway. Wow. So I had my first meeting out yesterday, which is very exciting, and my first workout out this morning. So I've been doing the home workouts like a boss.
And when you met with your friend, were you two kids like that haven't seen each other in forever because it was just so great to be out of the house?
Yeah, it was so nice. So nice to just get out. Although I don't mind staying home. Like anyone who knows me knows, staying home is fine. Super happy to stay home. But who are you, Lucas? How are you? Who are you?
I'm Lucas.
Hi, Lucas.
I like to help people create courses from their nonfiction books. It's been great. It's been a crazy week, but it's all good crazy, right? It's like, it used to bother people when they'd say, how's life? And I'm like, it's good. And they're like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm really busy. And they'd say, everyone's always busy. And I'm like,
everyone's always so busy.
I'm like, yeah, but it's a good busy. It's not like I'm just saying that. It's like I literally just jamming all the good things into a big pile and doing all the things, which is fun. But yeah, it's been a very fruitful week. Started 2 new books this week, like writing, not reading. So it's been
right. I feel like we have a little friendly competition on our nonfiction books that we're working on. Did you start outlining yours?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Because I was going to be like, I guess I just need to like stand here and just like start outlining my book. I mean, if we're going to do this, then I'm going to win.
No, you would. You would. No doubt you would.
No. We will win. We will tell you all what we're talking about later.
Yeah, we've got a little thing cooking up. But it's going to be fun. So yeah, it's been a lot of that. Started 2 new fiction projects. One's a co-authoring with Zach, and the other one's the next book in my series. Cause I realized like I need to just, even if it's a little something, I need to get started on something. Cause I don't want to just let it sit a month gap between the 2 projects. So it's been a lot of that. And I've been reading, so don't beat me up, but I'm not reading nonfiction this week because of my capacity has been reduced due to the things. But I'm reading
blame all the things. Like what's preventing progress? Just all the things.
Everything.
All of them. Yes.
I started In Excess of Dark from my friend Red Legault, and she's just fantastic. She's such a great author.
What's
great
the title. What is it again?
It's called In Excess of Dark.
Oh.
And it is a novella, and it is let me see, how do I put it? Well, she's in it's getting ready to come out. The book launches in February. And she's just such a great person. So it's like anything she puts out, I like to support her and read it. And it's always a great story. Her last release was a collection, and it was the first collection I'd read in a while. And I was having so much fun. It kind of took me back to when I was a kid and I would read Stephen King collections. But yeah, so that's what I've been reading this week is In Excess of Dark from Red Legault. And I've been trying to finish Kat Silva's The Wild Dark. And that's a really cool story, but it's a bigger book. So I've been reading that one long term. How about you?
Well, I'm Honore Quarter, and I help professionals and entrepreneurs to write, publish, and monetize their books. And so I have read a lot of nonfiction this week because I have several book projects in process, which is really cool. And I sent a final formatted book to an author this morning for his final, just a couple of questions on the subtleties of the book, and just giving him kind of final input before it goes for formatting. Nonfiction, I'm still reading Arete. I'm still reading The Daily Stoic.
Arete is so big. I think you're going to be reading that for like the next year.
You know what? Here's where I am.
Although you are a power reader. For those that don't know, this secret, she has a gift. I'm telling you, I can't do it. You can read so fast. I can't do it.
Well, I took a speed reading class like in 2005, and I learned a few things about reading. So anyway, I only read 3 or 4 pages this morning in Arete because I wanted to get this book over to this author, because the rest of my day is spoken for. Like I will come screeching in, tires screeching at 8:15 tonight, and I will immediately be asleep by 8:30. Right.
Also true.
Also true. Yes, I can power sleep with the best of them. And so there was no other time to do it than this morning, getting up a little bit earlier than usual and just getting that handled this morning. So I felt really good about crossing that off my list. I'm reading fiction, The Third to Die, Alison Brennan.
The Third to Die?
The Third to Die. Yes. And so, okay, so here's what's happening right now. I have my desk up, and my cat is going to try to make the leap from the printer table to the top of the desk. And so if there's a big noise, it's because she landed in the trash can. So I'm just like warning you, it could happen.
She's good for it.
This is live, everyone. You just don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, I am also reading fiction. So I think I read maybe 3% of that, because on my Kindle, I'm reading that. So those are my fiction and my nonfiction right now. So I'll probably finish The Third to Die this weekend, because I am putting boundaries more intensely than ever around work. I used to have this mantra that I live by: I don't work evenings, weekends, or holidays. And I was mostly able to stick to that because, Lexi was younger. And so my life was dictated by the school district. And when they decided I was going to do mandatory parent things, when we were going to have vacation and those sorts of things. And when she grew up and was no longer living at home, there's that sense of freedom that parents of littles will get at some point, where it's like, wait a minute, you mean I don't have to take vacation on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving? I could take it the Tuesday after Thanksgiving and everyone's back at work. What is happening?
Say what?
Say what? And so I realized I was just working all the time, just nonstop, because I love it. I absolutely love it. But I wasn't getting as much of my fun reading done and doing as many fun things as I wanted to do while still achieving my goals. So I will get more reading done for pleasure, because I have more time where I'm just carving it out and putting more systems in place, so I'm more efficient and effective with my time. And so you heard it here first. We'll see what happens.
I mean, you're really good about sticking to that too. I mean, you don't just talk about it. Once you put it on your plan, you go for it, and you really do give it its good, honest shot. So I'm interested to see how it all works out for you, because I won't be doubting whether you were committed to it or not. That's for sure. I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it too much on the show, but something I've kind of learned just watching how Honoré works over the last couple of years as a member of her mastermind, and all the fun things that we get to do on a regular basis here at the EBMC is, you are just very committed to your deadlines, and you are committed to your plan, and you are committed to executing exactly what you set out to do. And it's really a testament to the power of consistency. So that is a real thing. And there is no way around it. You can't supplement that. You can't bypass consistency. You just can't.
No, I would like to make a request for extra time to come via Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
If I could order, right? If I could order, could I just have 4 extra hours a day, please,
That'd be
for,
great.
like on subscription or like,
Mm.
like my laundry detergent and my toilet paper, right? I have things that arrive, like on
Yeah.
clockwork. It's like if I could just get an extra 4 hours a day, just bill me. It's fine. I'll pay for it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
That would be super.
That 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 whole, I don't know. It doesn't seem, it might not seem like it to some people, but that is actually tied directly with our topic for the day of book bonuses, because when you invest
Yeah.
in a project like a book, and you think later about, like, after you've published, you're like, I wish I could have added certain things, or,
Mm,
is there a way I can provide certain
wow.
value external to, like, what a book. I love the topic of book bonuses because it steps outside the physical bounds of a book,
Yeah.
and it gets into this realm where you can have this additional reach, this additional value, this additional leg of your funnel, all the things. You
Mm,
can't get that in certain areas of your business, right? Like, we're just,
mm.
like you were saying, you're constrained by time. We're constrained by certain,
Yep.
if you have a fixed budget in your business, um, a certain number of projects at a time, all those things, but you can really multiply the impact of your book through your book bonuses. And everything I've learned about book bonuses, I learned from Monterey. So who better to talk about it than the queen of book bonuses? That's,
Oh,
so
is
you
that
got a little crown coming in the
oh my
mail.
god, we all wanna be queen of something, I guess, right? So,
That's
we
not what
wanna
you
be
were.
queen of something, so we'll see what pops up for you. That sounds great.
Well, you do it in such a unique way because, well, it's unique to what I've observed, especially nonfiction, because you don't just do it in the book. Like, there's book bonuses in the book. You do them external to the book, and that was something that I really found fascinating when I learned about them. So, can you kind of, like, tell us a little bit about what, how did you get into focusing specifically on adding value to your books through book bonuses?
That's a great question. Thank you for that. It occurs to me because we don't pre-script this, right? That
Right.
the book bonuses were born, they evolved from the direction that I got probably back in my book baby days, right? So when I went to maybe one of the original Mark Victor Hansen events that I went to back in the day, right? So
Mm,
he would do these weekend events. And one of the things that was talked about was the shy yes. So Alex Mendozian used to talk about the shy yes. When someone comes to your website, you want to have a box that pops up that says, join my newsletter, or have a place
mm,
on on every page of your website, theoretically, that is, would you like to join my newsletter? And have a way for people to join your newsletter list, have a way to connect with your reader. I call that now, commencing the author reader relationship.
mm,
So book bonuses really started with if you'd like to get 2 free chapters or that sort of thing. There's no real genealogy for it. It's just kind of evolved over time as to
mm,
how do I avoid certain problems, and we can talk about what the problems are. So, note to self, um, if the content isn't evergreen, or what if I change my website address or my email address or something like that,
mm,
or what if the content of the book or the bonuses of the book were to change, if the giveaway that I'm giving for the bonus, how do I easily change that without something looking dated or having to manage a lot of external things, right? Because once you get all the things, all the books, all the book bonuses, all of the things. So it was originally just suggested that you want to have a way for people to join your email list in your book. And this is back 20 years ago when I first was getting started. They were talking about what you could give away. in order to get people to buy your book, the 2-chapter opt-in, that sort of thing. And then it became, what's the way that you can connect with readers if they do the look inside feature on your book, having that special invitation page where you can say, look, there are bonuses that come with this book. You can get the book bonuses, which would then lead you to believe they might join your list and then end up getting your book at some point. Right. So what I like to do is look at the contents of a book. And did I answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, you started doing this relatively early in your nonfiction publication time. And
I did.
I mean, I found this through You Must Write a Book the first time, because that was the first book I'd read of yours. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then you get to your website, templates, checklists.
Yes.
All the different recommendations, referrals, all this stuff was sitting there. I'm like, this is brilliant. This is such a great extension of the book.
Right. So it does a couple of things. It solves several different problems / helps people to capitalize opportunities in several different ways. One is the book then can stay the book. If the content of the book is constant, but the things that you give away in the book change, such as the checklist, the book marketing checklist, or the book production checklist, or the list of service providers, that can change because the names are not printed in the book. So then if somebody changes an email or their domain name or their phone number or all the things, right? Like I've moved for the last time, but I've had a lot of address changes. And so I can look back in previous books where I'd put my mailing address in there and it's incorrect. Well, if I hadn't put it in there, that would have been something I wouldn't have to have worried about changing.
Right.
So the book can just stay the book. But when you recommend something to someone and you say, you'll want to answer these questions, you can put the questions in the book, but you then have a couple of opportunities to connect with the reader outside of the book by putting the questions in a workbook and also perhaps putting them in your book bonuses. So I started just making a note of times when I wanted to enrich the reader's experience. If you want to know more, here's the more you can get. Here's a checklist. Here are journal prompts. Here's a journaling pages, a guidebook, something external where they could take what they're learning and reading about in the book and put it into practice. So all of the resources that are contained in the book, right? Or you can say, I have a list of 25 books I suggest that you read, and you can either expand your book and you're paying by the word, right? Editors' words, proofreaders' words, graphic designers, right, are charging you based on your project. Or you can say, I have a list of 25 books you absolutely have to read about this topic in order to get your full education included in the book bonuses. And then you can do your domain / and then book bonuses, right? Or, when you have different titles, you want to customize that after the / piece so that you know what you're giving away. But what I have done then is I used to put the bonuses on a page on my website. And then what I started doing is having people subscribe to my list and getting an autoresponder with everything already populated. So it's already done and it's in their inbox and they're more likely to take advantage of it. Right? If it's not a page they have to go see, it's a page they go subscribe to, and then it comes as an autoresponder to them joining your list.
So it's pushed out. Yeah.
It's pushed out and it comes into their inbox. And so they get to save it. They can print it out. They can click on all of those links. They can get that downloadable list of books to read. They can get that list of service providers. They can go to, other websites, those sorts of things. And so I really streamlined the process over time, and it's allowed me to increase the worth of the book to the reader, right? Not only have we talked about the 3-legged stool where you're creating the book, a companion, physical, a different kind of book and a course, but you can also build those book bonuses into your book and you can update them over time. So you can then say, like, I have, revised, expanded book bonuses, all that kind of stuff.
So this is you said a couple of really key important things that all the authors, all the creatives, all the course creators, all the things they're trying to do, and you provided a lot of that value right there. One, you've got someone that's interested in your content because they are already exposed to your content. Right. They've read at least some of your book and they're like, I want to go get more, which is great, right? Because they're diving in deeper.
Yes.
They come to your website, they're exchanging their contact information for that book bonus, which gets them on your email list.
Yep.
You've got them opting in. And once they've opted in, you're providing them with exactly that value that you had promised them. And maybe more. It was more than I expected, to be honest with you. When I went to your page, I was like, oh, wow, there's a lot more here than I expected to see. And they would be receiving that in email now. But so you've just bolstered your relationship with that person. You've also found a way to connect. And I think this is a really important thing. And I want people to miss. You found a way to connect with readers you may never have been in contact with. Amazon does not share purchase information with authors. So if you're publishing on, because thanks to you, I publish my nonfiction wide. Someone buys my book at Barnes & Noble, or if someone buys it on Amazon, I have no idea who that person is. If they come to my site via the book bonuses, which I refer to in my book as my book resources, they're going to exchange that information. And now we are actually connected, and they've got an opportunity to get even more value out of that purchase. But also I know who they are now, right? They're in this circle. It's getting bigger.
Yes.
Those people could be served by your newsletter. They could be served by future offers. They could be on your next beta. They could be on your ARC, your advanced reader team for your next book. I mean, there's so much that you could offer these people now. What a brilliant little path that now becomes part of your funnel for your business. And it was all born of connecting with someone through your book, which is amazing.
Right. And you make a very good point about the fact that retailers don't share who purchases our books with us. And so the way to connect with them anyway, perhaps, is by giving them something. Interestingly, now, when someone gets my book bonuses, they're getting the bonuses, but I'm also asking them questions in the response. So here are the book bonuses, but insert a question of some kind. How did you discover my book? Who do I have to thank for connecting us? Something like that. So they'll answer that, but then it subscribes them to my main list, and they get the welcome email that gives them insight into me. And so then I ask them questions. Now, tell me about you. I want to know about you. And so I'm getting these really cool emails from people that are writing me back and saying, well, I read your book. I got one recently, Lucas. I don't know if I forwarded it to you or not. I try not to clog up your inbox, but it was someone who said, I'm reading You Must Write a Book. I'm reading Monetize Your Book with a Course with Lucas. And that had to have been just someone who discovered, I discovered your work. I think it was someone who said, I discovered your work because of the Miracle Morning series. And I read, here are the 6 Miracle Morning books I read. And then I read You Must Write a Book. And now I'm reading Monetize Your Book with a Course.
Wow.
And here's what I'm working on. And it was interesting because the topic, and when the time comes, I will promote this book, but the topic was interesting to me. And I never say that it is if it isn't. I will never write to someone and say, oh my gosh, you're raising alpacas. I've always wanted to raise alpacas. And all of those sorts of things. So, but if it's genuine, if it's a topic that I'm interested in, so generally it's fitness, feng shui, French, travel, writing, those sorts of things. If some people are writing around those areas, I'm very interested in that. So if they happen to use, what I've written to help write their books, I think that's cool. So I was very interested in this. And I said, that is a topic I'm completely interested in. Please let me know when your book is out and I will buy it and review it because I'm your ideal reader. And so we had this nice little back and forth. And the answer I get all the time somewhere in that email is, I didn't think you were going to answer it. I didn't think you were going to be the person that was
right
responding to me. And it might take me a little time, but I do my best to respond to that. But it really does create that relationship. And so when you think about the concept of fans or super fans, it's really when someone feels like they're connected to the person that they like. And so when you respond to that email with really good bonuses and you give more than what you thought, because you touched on that, right? You said there were more there than I thought were going to be there. which is the goal. My goal is to under promise and over deliver. So when I can do that and make someone happy, that's great. And then when someone says, I read your book because someone referred it to me, that's really cool, because that's word of mouth. That's the number one way people discover a book, is through a recommendation. And so your book bonuses, circling back to, and you just call them book bonuses, they're resources, they're whatever you want to, whatever you want to call them, so that they help the reader to connect to more valuable information. Whatever you want to call that's fine. But when you can do that, you're creating those people that are really grateful, because there's a lot of, I see this all the time. How many steps do you have to walk to lose weight? So I go, okay, I'm going to click on it. And then it's like, we need your blood type, the type of the last piece of fruit that you ate, all those things, right? And you just kind of go, just tell me how many steps. Just tell me what the number is.
Give me the number.
Just give me the number. And I'm more likely to stay in it. And a lot of times I'll go partway through the process, and then I run out of time, or I get frustrated and just close the window. Yep. So I try not to make it hard for someone. It's like, here, go to this page, put your name and your email address in, and you're going to get an email autoresponder with the information that you need. And you can automatically unsubscribe if you want to, but since you got some really good information, don't you want to see what else you can get for free, right? And that's the thing. It's like, when you give away everything you've got, everything you can in the given situation, people will really appreciate that, because there are so many barriers to entry these days to even get basic information.
Yeah. Now I do want to touch on, you just triggered a thought about flexibility. How the bonuses provide flexibility to the book that the book can't have without a lot of change. Before I say that, though, I want to say hello to Karen Hunsinger, who is watching us on LinkedIn, and she's commenting on LinkedIn, but it's not showing up in my feed. So hi, Karen, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day. She is our book doctor of the hour. She's hanging out with us. So the flexibility piece, I think, is important, because one of the things that I always tell my clients about courses that differs from their nonfiction book that we're oftentimes generating the course related to it, we're taking that content and expanding it into a course, is that the course is very flexible. It can be changed quickly. It can be updated regularly. It can be this moving target. You don't have to feel constrained. You and I both know that when you publish the book, you can't just like go in and add a couple little things here and there 2-3 weeks later and expect to get away with it very often, because there are update rules with files, and if you might cross a line and end up causing a problem with the review process and all these things based on what you're doing inside the file. You want to reserve book file updates for something significant or critical. Right.
Yes.
So having this,
just because you can update them every day does not mean you should update them more than once a year.
Right. Like, you gotta
be. That's my policy, is once we have published a book, we can come back in 1 year's time and make any updates that you want to make. And that is fine. Any updates, any mistake, corrections, those sorts of things.
Sure.
But not,
we're not doing this every week.
Not substantive changes, because that's different. And when it's your own book, you want to make sure that you can make those minor changes and keep track of them. And what I do is I just take a hard copy of the book and a little sticky like this, and I just page and then correction.
Gotcha.
And then make a note on my calendar that right around the book birthday, I'm going to go in and make any corrections and then upload it. Unless I'm going to do a new edition.
Right.
Which I tend to do 10th year editions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I tend not to get too wrapped around the tree about the occasional change. I'm over the horrifying feeling of a typo.
Yeah.
Right. When someone's like, did you know there's a typo on page 65? I used to just wake up with a sick stomach and be like, oh my gosh, I have a typo. Now I'm like, welcome.
Yeah. Now you're like, it's just one, right? Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Let it live.
I want to have the determination and stick-to-itiveness of typos.
Right.
Because they have lived through, they're like cockroaches. They have lived through multiple reviews, editors, proofreaders, advanced readers. They have survived the apocalypse, and they are still there in print. So I raise a glass to the typos and mistakes of the books we read. And if you think traditional publishing doesn't have typos,
oh yes. Well, you and I had a conversation a couple months back where I was reading a fiction book, and I was like, wait a minute. And I'm like flipping back to see who owned the copyright on this thing, or not the copyright, but the publishing rights. Cause I'm like, what? Like it was riddled with very simple spelling errors that like.
Well, and I think Karen is with us. Hi, Karen. Karen actually sent me something recently, and it was,
is it kind of like the food industry where they're like, we'll allow a certain number of errors and
we're allowed. Well, but it's a percentage. If you have 70,000 words and an editor makes 4,000 corrections and they miss 5, when you think about that, which is why you don't just have one, you don't do, you first of all use a professional editor who knows what they're doing. Who's following a manual of style, right, and is using tools, but they are certainly not the only person that's reading the document, right? You as the author should be reading the document multiple times, but again, your eyes get fuzzy. You will not see the forest for the trees at some point, but also having other lines of defense and different processes in place, so you're more likely to catch those mistakes, time in between reviews, that sort of thing. But the percentage of the words that are correct, if you have an 18,000 word book and there's one typo, that's like 0.00, right? So that's something to consider as well. That's why the more reviews, the time in between reviews, the different types of reviews that you're doing are all instrumental in having a pretty clean read, because when you have a typo or a mistake, it's like trying to drive really fast through the Walmart parking lot, right? They got those speed bumps in there, and it's like there's nothing like being in a high performance, low riding machine and hitting a speed bump going 30 miles an hour. It's not going to end well for anybody.
Not that Honore drives at 30 miles an hour in parking lots.
You don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I happen to know you're a very responsible driver. But once outside of the parking lot, it's hey. Well,
I do have a client that's a police officer now, and I have someone I collaborate with who is a detective. So I feel like if I got pulled over,
they could laugh at you.
They could laugh at me. However, I tend to listen to music, have a heavier read than if I am listening to an audiobook. Audiobooks do not inspire me to drive speedily.
Not unless you're listening at like 2.4.
Yeah.
So the book bonuses flexibility thing. Yeah. Don't use it to like try and give people like, oh, there's a correction on page 3, like a typo.
No. The book bonus is
but you can use it to do things like I do, where it's like, hey, there's some additional information I would like to add to the book that didn't exist a year ago. I gave a list of like recommended microphones, right? For example, I've got a new mic I want to recommend. I go straight to my book bonuses and I update it there, and I might even send out an email.
Yeah.
And this could go out to like the newsletter, or it could go out to like my socials and go, hey, I've recently updated my book resources. So if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't read the book, here's a link. And now those people that, could be random people, they go to the site, they exchange the information, they get the resources, and you have an opportunity to update that information there. So it's really good for lists. It's really good for things like that maybe you have a 5-year, 2-year, 10-year plan for updating the files. you can do some updates to some of that type of information in the interim on your book bonuses or book resources.
Yeah. Something I just thought of, which would be fun, is if in your book bonuses you put breaking news, like your microphone.
Cool. Yeah.
Like a breaking news section. Like, here's what's happened since I published the book. Here's some updated information.
That's fun.
Yeah.
See, now you're going to make me go in and revise my book resources this afternoon.
What do I say right now? Do I say,
you're welcome?
I apologize, or you're welcome?
Yeah. Well, it's you're welcome, because, it's like, hey, you made my site better, and my people benefiting from the book resources will thank you as well. So let's talk about some of the actual, like, if people are like, oh, all this sounds great, and I got it, you got a couple things in there, I'd like to give them some specific examples about things you and I have in our book resources or in our book bonuses to help people. So in Monetize Your Book with a Course, as I mentioned, I've got lists of referred software for editing, courses, learning management systems. I even have some links in there, and I use my affiliate codes, and I put it in there. Obviously, hey, I'm an affiliate. This is what I use. Here's a link if you're interested in learning more. I've even used some of my book bonuses for some of that type of referral work. Lists of people that we refer for editing, different types of software resources, books. I refer people to other books. I'm like, hey, this isn't what I teach, but if you really want to learn this is my favorite book on the topic. You and I have talked about checklists, templates, all the really helpful things that sometimes make it into a workbook, didn't make it into the book. And you can put it as a book resource as well, even though it goes in maybe 1 or 2 pages of your workbook. Which, by the way, is a nice little upsell for your workbook, because if you put those things in your book resources, the person reading the book may not even know you have a workbook, or they may have been like, oh, you have a workbook, but they haven't really gotten around to getting serious about looking into it. And then when they see the value of that resource, that bonus, they go, oh, there's more of this in that workbook.
Yes.
Here's a link.
Yes.
Go check it out.
Well, I have a list. I pulled up the book bonuses for You Must Market Your Book.
All right.
And so I have 5 different bullets, and under the first bullet are the book marketing action plans. So in You Must Market Your Book, I teach people how to design an effective book marketing action plan, a book map. And so I give my example, and then I give a downloadable template they can fill in. Then there are book formatters I recommend. So I list 3 book formatters that I recommend, and their links. Then I put in a coupon for Publishing PhD that's directly from the book. So if someone buys the book, reads the book, downloads the book bonuses, or somehow gets a copy of the book, and then they use this particular code, they get $500 off my publishing course, because I have a lot of people who discover me because they think they want to just market their book, and then they realize, gosh, I want to publish professionally. So they go back and buy the course using this code. So I know exactly where they came from. So there's a tracking element there. There are additional resources on my website. So I just provide a link to my additional resources. And then I have my favorite books. And so in the book, I mention my favorite books. And then the last thing I do is I just mention the I Must Market My Book workbook, the companion, but I don't link to it. Because I think if someone wants to get it, they're going to go find it where they want to find it. And I don't want them to feel like, and I get this feedback sometimes, and I think this is just how some people are wired. They're like, this is a really skinny book. There's no value in here. Okay. And all she ever did was talk about her courses and her workbooks and the other things that you could buy. And it's like, well, but that's specifically designed to serve you at the highest level that I can possibly serve. And this is my experience in action. And so if someone doesn't like it, that's their prerogative. But that's why that's in there. But I don't officially link to the workbook, but I mention it in case that they want it. I have never had someone say, I bought the workbook and I hated it. There's never been a workbook or a journal or a companion guide or a companion planner that I've created that someone didn't say, this is exactly what I wanted. Thank you so much. It really helped me to put what you put in the book in action. So you can put everything, honestly, almost everything that goes in the workbook or the journal in the book bonuses. And some people still want all of that in one tight container that they can buy and keep on their desk and have reference ready.
Yeah,
And
that's what I do.
You get to decide. Hi, Wayne. You get to decide if you want to do that, and then they get to decide if they want to buy it or not. Like I'm not holding anything back anywhere. I'm just enhancing. And I think that's something important to mention, is that give everything that you possibly can everywhere you possibly can.
Right.
The reason I don't just put workbooks, not what the book is for. The job of the book is very specific, and it's not to be a workbook.
Right.
So I separate those things. And there are times when I can't meet the minimum page requirement or the minimum content requirement. And so I just do a free action guide that goes along with the book, and it's part of the book bonuses. So I did that with the best-selling book formula. There wasn't enough to justify having 70 blank pages and 30 pages of content, right? So I just provided a free action guide, downloadable PDF that people could use. Super easy.
Gotcha. I just loaded a link to the you must write your book. You must write a book bonuses. So if you guys are interested in checking out what we're talking about, by the way, I mean, I still, to this day, years after downloading some of the checklists from your bonus site, I still use them today and refer them to clients because, they're great. What a great resource. So could you talk to me a little bit about how far off the beaten path someone might go with bonuses? Because I mentioned that I refer different people that are doing related work, right? Like if you're building a course, you're probably going to be looking for someone that does X, Y, and Z. And I'll refer those people. Kent Sanders, just use Kent as an example, or Karen Hunsinger. These are people we've worked with that are people we know, like, and trust, and we know the quality of their work, and we're happy to refer them. Sure. It's also relevant to the topic. Are there any kind of outside the box things a little bit further away from that level of referral? Or like, do you have like a my favorites list? Something that's a little bit further away from the book content that you still think is very valuable for your readers?
I don't have are you asking if I have like a go, no go gauge?
No, not. I love that you just used that, by the way. All the other engineers out there, please. Thank you, Honore.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's awesome. Yes. No, not quite. But do you have like a, do you kind of, when you start building your book bonuses, do you think, okay, here's all the stuff I know they're really going to be very closely tied to or looking for, and here's some stuff that might also be helpful to them?
Well, so I always add in here's stuff that might also be helpful. I'll give you an example. When I did there is no such thing as writer's block. I talked about the fact that it doesn't exist, but it really does. And then if you have it, how do you get rid of it? Once you get rid of it, how do you make sure you never get it again? Or how do you make sure you never get it in the first place? And one of those things is meditation. I think that giving your brain the space to shut down, like if your computer's acting funny, I had to do a hard reset on my car yesterday on the audio system because it was doing something funky. So we just did a hard reset. So meditation is a hard reset for your brain. Most people don't think about, I have writer's block or I have creativity block. Let me just take some time to sit in silence when I'm so stressed and I have a million things to do. It seems counterproductive. But Buddha did say, meditate for an hour every day. And if you don't have time to meditate for an hour, then meditate for 2 hours. Right. I'm just saying, I'm just going to throw in some Buddha right here. So I do add in the things that make sense to me based on my experience. And then I clarify why it's important. I don't say things like, going for a walk would be helpful. And to make sure that you are going to walk a couple of times a day, get a dog.
All right.
Right?
Just this blank
Yeah,
recommendation.
just as like, I think you should get a dog. Wait a minute. What? How did you make that connection? Like that happens with my husband and I all the time. I'll say, all of a sudden I'll just say something and he's like, do you have Tourette's or like, what's happening right now? Like, how did you get there? And I'll say, well, you said this thing, which reminded me of this, which made me think of this. And this is how I got there. Your book bonuses need to be, so I'll use an Everybody Loves Raymond reference. You know this, when they would say you want your parents to live in the outer ring, not the inner ring. So you don't want them to be able to stop by, but you do want them to be able to come by and bring soup. But they have to tell you they're coming, because if you're not home, it's too far out of their way. Right?
Right.
So if they live just 5 minutes away, they might just show up.
Yeah.
But if they live 30 minutes away, they can still come and bring you soup, but they would have to call before they come, right? So you want to make sure you stay in that inner circle with your book bonuses, things that are directly related. And if you're getting into that outside ring and you're thinking, well, it would be really helpful for people to have this knowledge, and I'm going to use a book course analogy here, right? I think it's a really good idea for people to do courses from their nonfiction books. Yep. And I am not the expert in that space. So I can tell you what I've done. But if you want to go to an expert, you want to go to Lucas. So if I had that expertise, I would write, you must write a book and you must create a course. I didn't. There's a reason. But I can recommend that they go read your book. But if you have multiple areas of expertise and you have a lot of other knowledge and it just doesn't fit in with the content of your book, and you could then maybe create another book that would be helpful, that's also interesting. I talk about marketing in You Must Write a Book. But it's a chapter. You must market your book and you must market with your book. Those are 2 chapters. But then I wrote, you must market your book, because that's a topic everybody wants to hear about. And as time has gone on, I have, compiled more expensive and extensive knowledge in that space, which allowed me to write a book about that. So there's a lot to unpack there. And really your common sense is your guide on this. You may do something as a bonus at some point, and then it's in a little time later realize, instead of a bonus, I'm going to turn this into an actual product or something else that someone could use that would be a revenue stream as well.
Oh, that's a really good point. I mean, you could kind of test out, the interest in something like that that's really good. I didn't think about that. Okay.
Because in your email list, you can look at when people subscribe to your bonuses. If you have something like ConvertKit or something like that, you can see what bonuses people are opening.
Right.
So they subscribe to your list, and then you can track, did they open this? Is this something that's interesting to you? And if you have 10 things on your list and the last one no one ever goes to, then you don't really need to build another product around it. But if everybody goes and they're downloading that book map, right? Maybe there's something else that could be created out of that.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great point. So you and I have both built these book resources, offered them to people in the books, but we don't have them currently listed on either of our sites, like amongst all our courses or amongst our free resources tab or something like that. And there are some people that would be interested in maybe using that as a lead gen type thing. I worked with, Jeff Felton, when Jeff and I were talking. So for those that aren't familiar, if you go back a couple months, we had episodes with Jeff Felton. He's an email sequence dude. He's really, really great at what he does. So if you guys are looking for someone that has great content, great instruction, if you just want to follow somebody that talks about this stuff and gives really great detail and advice, Jeff Felton's a fantastic person to reference. But when Jeff and I were talking, it's like, so what's your free offer, right? Like, what do you use as a lead magnet? Yeah. And it was kind of funny because I said, well, it depends on if they've read my book or not. Right. And he was like, oh, so if people have read my book, they get access to my course resource library. And I know they came specifically through that one route. Yep. They have purchased and read that book. Yep. Some people would want to expand that and make it a free offer on their site. You could take elements of your book bonuses and do that. You could provide the book bonus as a free resource to people on your site. Yep. Thanks, Jen. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, Jen.
But it's one of those things where I don't give away the farm on my free, like if you just click on my website and have a free lead magnet, for example, I don't give the farm away in that lead magnet. I'm much more interested in rewarding someone who's invested the time and money into buying my book. And that's one of the reasons I do that. That's a very personal thing. And I also want to know specifically that this person has demonstrated enough interest in this topic to dive into a book on this topic. Yeah. So that I've kind of used hiding that in the book for lack of a better term, using the word hiding. Right. I've exclusively offered that to book readers so that I can use it as a bit of a filtration tool. These people are invested. So right now, if you told me, hey, look, I need you to go reach out to people on your email list who absolutely know without a doubt are seriously invested in this, and they're not just freebie grabbers from the website that were just scanning things. I could go right to that list of people that have downloaded those things and go, these people are very interested right now. And that's different than just posting it open on your website. Now, I do have free resources on my website, but that's not this, right?
Yep. It's next layer. It's rewarding people. I'm about to do, so go to Empire Builders USA on Instagram. I'm about to post, and it's sometime today, a quote from an obscure quote from a book I've read several times. And it's funny, and I'm going to tag the author, and he's going to know that I've read his book several times because it's just an obscure thing that he said. And so that you know who your fans are and who your super fans are, and you want to give those folks a really good thank you for showing up. And that's what I think book bonuses are. We didn't even lead with this right here. We're coming at the end, and I'm just now getting around to this, but book bonuses are really a gift that you give someone who has your book and have taken the time to read it, because they have to open it in order to know that there are book bonuses.
Right.
And one other thing I was going to suggest is, if you want to see what book bonuses are out there, just Google book bonuses. The book bonuses of different authors will come up, and you can go see. You can also Google book resources, those sorts of things, to see what other people have done. And I've done that a time or two. It's been a long time since I've done it, but I seem to remember. What do you find? Are you doing that, Lucas? Like, are you just seeing a bunch of book bonuses that are coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I just feel like this is one of those things that people just don't consider leveraging.
Right. But I think that there are a lot of people that do it. Like, I just Googled book bonuses, and it says Millionaire Mind book bonuses.
Oh yeah. I have searched for it and seen them pop up. It's funny because I love that you asked this question, because I'm a hesitant buyer. I don't know if it's just because I'm from the engineering background and my brain works like a way. And I've always said this about my own people, that engineers are very critical purchasers of things.
They are.
I don't know if it's that or if it's my upbringing. to not get too specific.
Born and raised engineer. I think I'm surprised we're even here today. I'm surprised we've made it this far, Lucas.
Yeah, I don't know if I can expand on that too much without, like, my dad right now is laughing because ask my mom how things go when people would show up at our door to sell things unsolicited. But
Did she shoot them?
Yeah, but she threatened to. And I'd be the one. I'm the logical one in the middle. Go, Mom, no, don't say that.
No, don't shoot them. Don't shoot them.
Get off my porch. You get a real job. Anyways, when I go to those things and I search like that, one, I'm overwhelmed. If there's a lot of results, I'm like, where do I start? But more importantly, who do I trust? And it's almost like I could go grab all these things, but just because you tell me this is a good thing to do, I don't know if I trust you to lead me down that path. One of the things I love about the fact that it's coming from a book you've invested in is you've already got some trust developed there.
That's right.
And so if you're looking at the internet for resources, absolutely find notable sites. Really look at their page and kind of review, get a flavor.
Oh yes, I was just saying. When I Google book bonuses, I meant from an idea perspective, but I just went to Millionaire Mind, book bonuses, and there's a whole page, and it's like Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, who's a respected author. Number 1, Declarations Review. Bonus number 2, Net Worth Tracking Sheet. Bonus number 3, $100 off Eker's digital programs. Nice. And the list of the programs, MMI overview from the public perspective, FAQs. I mean, this is a really wonderfully done book bonus page.
Nice.
This is fantastic. I will add this to our show notes.
Excellent. Yeah.
I'm going to copy this link right now.
I'm actually updating one. I'd like to, the cool thing about this is, like, for example, if you find a podcast or you find a YouTube channel or something, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to give this to all my clients. You can grab that link and you can put it right in your book bonuses. I have a whole list of podcasts I recommend to my book bonus buyers. I did want to point out, like, give you guys a little bit of insight into how deep this gets. I keep a high level. One is just lists, pre-development course checklist, right? Like if you're going to pre-development launch a course, here's a checklist. It's downloadable. Technology checklist for course creators, CRM information and tag list, a whole list of tags I've used for my clients, behaviors and guides, like a visual tying people's behaviors, purchasing behaviors to ways to tag them in your CRM. These are like the level of detail you can get to. You can change these things later. Templates, chapter and lesson configuration for courses, a list of podcasts, links to podcasts, links to the Empire Builders MasterCast. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Books you'll love, people I work with, my favorite courses and programs, those types of things, right? All listed in there. Never could have this flexibility in just a physical product. Good stuff. So we've got, what, 3 minutes left?
We do.
Judy. Hello, Judy. I don't know. Judy, you're contacting us from YouTube. Is the L, does that mean we've taken an L? Does that mean I'm a loser?
Yes. Hi, Judy. Thank you for watching. Do you have a question? What is L? Are we supposed to, I guess?
She's like Lucas is one of these.
Lucas. No, it's this, Lucas. It's this one, right?
Oh.
Like three-dimensional loser.
What is, it's like, wow, that's deep, man. I'm that bad.
Loser
burrito. Yeah. Hi, Judy. We welcome you to the show. Let us know if you have any questions. Drop them right there in the chat. We can see them. They pop up in our feed. Anyone else, if you have questions on Facebook, LinkedIn's acting funny today. It's not wanting to play. It's giving me, I can see the feed on my phone. That's why I keep looking down to see if anyone's asking. But
all right. Well,
I'm not seeing any comments in the feed. So,
well, sometime after the show, the notes from the show will be added to the show. And so you'll be able to get these links for these different examples. So hang on to those, Lucas, right?
Yes, I'm actually,
you have put in the chat.
Yeah, and if anyone ever is curious about where our chat is best viewable, because you might be seeing this on one platform and you're like, I don't see these comments. Certain software doesn't like to communicate back and forth with other software. Looking at you, LinkedIn. They are really particular about, like, not allowing interaction. Sometimes they won't even identify the other users. So, and that goes for streaming software that is being connected to their systems. YouTube and Facebook tend to be pretty helpful. YouTube being the most collaborative. So if you're ever curious, check out our YouTube channel. Check out the video on the YouTube channel under lives. And you'll see all the comments that we are able to give back and forth. But all of our links that we post in the chat will pop up in those places. And that's probably what you'll be looking for. All right. So I'm going to give one recommended link that I'm actually going to add to my book. I call it my course builder resource library, my book bonuses. I'm going to add the subscriptions for authors podcast. So if you guys, it's really important and relevant if you are a nonfiction or a fiction author and you are looking at a subscription model as a writer, the subscriptions for authors podcast has been great. So yeah, that's my newest addition. How about you, Miss Honore? Have you added anything to your book resources recently that is worth noting?
That's a good question.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Well, if I can't think of it off the top of my head, the answer is no. But I do, when I think of something, just add it. So.
Oh, well, you just referenced one. You just mentioned one. Yeah.
It's
The
been
one you
5 minutes
searched.
since then.
You did.
I just did a search, yeah, for my
Yeah.
resources page. So on my resources page, I think the most recent thing I created was the 8-day Write Your Book Challenge. It's a free challenge that is an autoresponder series for helping people just to get moving on their book over the course of about a week. I have all kinds of things on this page. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing I would ask is there anything that you think we haven't covered related to book bonuses that you absolutely would recommend people consider? Could be anything, different types of resource, a way to select things.
I think probably execution. Don't make it complicated. You made a whole huge list of things in yours. You have a whole bunch of things. I have 5 bullets with things that I think add value. Right.
Gotcha.
And so it doesn't need to be anything more than an assessment, right? Like it could just be one thing. It could just legitimately be one thing that isn't in the book that's a book bonus.
That's great.
It doesn't have to be book bonuses, and it doesn't have to be fully comprehensive. You don't need to stress about it. You don't need to make things up to fill space. This is purely a value add bonus that you're providing for your reader. So don't overthink it. Don't get too in your head about it. And you can update it over time. You can turn a bonus into bonuses. You can turn 3 bonuses into 27 bonuses if you want to over time. So don't just give yourself grace and permission to just do it, right? One bonus is better than no bonuses. One bonus is going to get people on your email list and grow your email list and create connectivity between you and your readers. And that's really what you're going for.
Excellent. Excellent point. I really appreciate that level of focus, because it is easy to get overwhelmed by all this stuff, especially when you're talking to people that do this for a while. And I mean, you're absolutely correct. I mean, just get 1 or 2 things up there. And like we said before, enjoy the flexibility, enjoy the fact that you do have the freedom to update. You do have the freedom to add to it later. You don't have to have the whole enchilada right out the gate. Just give them something valuable and get moving, and make a list to maybe review it every so often. And I'm going to do that now. I've been thinking about it. I just updated 3 things on my list.
Nice. I want to say something else too, and that is that the book bonuses page just really needs to be done in concert with your book launch date. I don't promise my advanced reader team that the book bonuses are finished, because sometimes I'm having a designed product. I'm having, Dino design something. And so I'm not sending it when the advanced reader team gets the book. They're not getting the book bonuses. So I make a note of that in my email sequence to the art. Right. So just give, you can be doing that the day before your book launch, when you're still sitting on your hands, not talking about your book and being nervous. You can go, oh, great, I'm going to build out my book bonuses page and my autoresponder and my links, and I'm going to test it, and I'm going to make sure it's all working. That'll take a couple of hours, and you'll be happy to have something to do. So hopefully that's helpful. Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. Thanks, Lucas.
All right, guys. Yeah. Thank you so much, Honore. And again, I mean, you just a wealth of knowledge, especially in areas like this where you kind of, opened my eyes to the power of book resources. And it is now an integral part of what I plan when I plan the book, not just.
Well, all your books, right? Fiction too.
Absolutely.
And a novella, get 2 free chapters, blah, 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 blah.
Yep. All of it. Join a membership, all the things that it's not just about optimizing the content. This is about like giving additional value that they just don't see in the book cover to cover. So excellent. All right, guys. Well, you know the deal. We'll be here next week. We are at 11 o'clock Eastern, and that would be 10 o'clock Central.
Yep.
And we love to have you guys come back and hang out with us. If you're looking for back episodes, if you want to see anything we've done in the past, go check out the YouTube channel. It is chocked full. I mean, we have tons of great content videos, and they're constantly updating every week, not just lives, but pre-recorded as well. Yep. And check out the Empire Builders MasterClass. Go check it out. We've got tons of great courses there. I don't want to should I tell them what's coming with the newsletter?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. If you guys Yeah, we've got a brand new newsletter we're kicking off. We have not done a newsletter for the EBMC up till now because we were being very strategic in what we do. We don't like to backpedal. We want to be very intentional about what we put out there. Honore has very graciously offered to author a very insightful and unique sequence of emails that are only going to be broadcast to the EBMC newsletter. So keep your eyes peeled. I will have a link for you to sign up for the newsletter shortly, and you can get all of that great content there, plus a free offer, a downloadable book that will be in that sequence as well. So good stuff. Thank you, Honore, for being so willing to share all that with them.
Of course. My pleasure. My pleasure, as always. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do. And this is just such a fun time and great conversation we get to have with people. So thanks for everybody tuning in. We will be back next week. Please like, share, ring the bell. Visit us at Empire Builders MasterClass. Share it with your friends. And if you have book bonuses that you've used in your book, drop a link down below so we can check out your bonuses. And if you have a bonus idea we didn't talk about, put it down below. Let's get some conversation going. Just thanks for everybody for watching.